It's Wednesday, September 24th. Today, a new plan for a crumbling parking lot. The project being proposed in the West Broadway neighborhood. Working through a backlog. How many compensation claims Air Canada is dealing with following the summer strike? Under review, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers weigh in on the new CFL rule changes. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us here at Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot in the next 3 hours, including we know there's a big problem with crime in our city. And so Ainsley McPhail's hanging out with Crimestoppers this morning, telling us a little bit more on how the program works, what you could do to support it, as well as the important calls that they get and they're hoping to get every single time there's some crime that we don't know details about. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that, as well as some of the businesses that are supporting Crimestoppers. But first, let's talk about this weather.
Okay, how was your drive?
Foggy.
Yeah.
So thick, you could see the condensation on the windows, which doesn't happen very often.
I noticed that too. As soon as I stepped outside this morning, you could like see the fog in the air. Not just like that usual effect of fog, but like this dense little cloud of droplets in the air. And I felt like I needed a shower cap, honestly. It is, it's gonna be one of those days. And then I curled my hair all nice, and as I was doing that, I thought, Terry, why?
Oh, exactly.
What a waste. Anyway, let's take a look. All right, 10 degrees right now. Ooh, it kind of looks cool as you look down Portage Avenue there, doesn't it? So fog, that's the little lines that you're seeing there. 5 km/h winds. Those are out of the south-southeast. They're actually going to stay on the lighter side today. Pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 100%. So yes, it is foggy, but it's also so dark that we can't really see a whole lot of that at this time. But the sun will be rising at about 7:18. We'll start to get the day glow in advance of that and expect it to be kind of an eerie looking morning because that fog is incredibly dense this morning. Visibility is poor. Give yourself plenty of extra time for your commute into work. Now, aside from the fog, it's going to be another clear and beautiful day. We might have a few clouds in some places. Taking a look across, well, not much to see on the satellite image. On the Futurecast, you will see that there's going to be a bit of precipitation moving through parts of northern Manitoba. So starting with the clouds building up and then a little bit of rain. But really, that's going to be the one part of the province that does see any sort of activity all through, well, I mean, really, the southern half of Canada is actually looking quite clear, and it'll stay that way. We've got plenty of sunshine in the days ahead. Yes, it is foggy this morning, but that fog will burn off. We'll enjoy that sunshine into the afternoon. We're still expecting these well above seasonal temperatures. Yesterday, it did eventually clear. It took a little bit longer. It wasn't until the afternoon before those clouds really moved on out. But then once that sun shone for us, it ended up being a beautiful afternoon. And today, we'll deal with pretty much the same. So the morning fog, but then some sunshine and a high of 25 degrees. Slightly cooler tomorrow, 18 our expected high, but we're back up again into those low to mid 20s and staying there as we look ahead further into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. 2 Winnipeg foster parents have been charged with an assault that left a child in hospital in critical condition. First off, a warning that the details of this story may be disturbing for some viewers. According to Winnipeg Police, on Friday, their officers were called to a home in North Winnipeg for a report of a child with serious injuries. That child was taken to hospital in critical condition with what police describe as life-altering injuries. 3 other children from the same home were also taken to the hospital for assessment. Police allege one of these children, who is in the hospital in stable condition, also showed signs of an assault. Police say the critically injured child was attacked sometime between September 17th and 18th and did not receive medical help. Now, a 25-year-old woman, the child's foster mother, is charged with aggravated assault and failure to provide the necessaries of life, and the 26-year-old foster father faces a charge of failure to provide the necessaries of life. A large housing project is planned for the Sherbrook Inn's parking lot. The development comes as the hotel in the West Broadway neighborhood is under new ownership. And as CTV's Jeff Kiel shows you, plans include 6 stories and 86 units of housing.
A crumbling parking lot now, but one day dozens of people could be living here behind the Sherbrook Inn in West Broadway.
It's not that nice of a parking lot, in my opinion. I'd rather have the building.
If it's family housing, it sounds like it would be a good plan.
A public hearing is scheduled at City Hall to consider a proposal that would see the Sherbrook Inn in the hotel's parking lot subdivided to make way for a 6-story, 86-unit multifamily building with a ground floor of businesses on the parking lot. A report also shows 44 parking stalls, including 14 for the hotel. The plans come as a new owner took over the Sherbrook Inn last year.
More people on the streets is good for safety.
David McKeegan helps out behind the hotel's bar, has lived in the neighborhood for 40 years and welcomes the development.
Sherbrook Street here has been doing very well with progress, a lot of new businesses and a little bit of life, so to just keep the things moving in the right direction.
Bringing more people to the area could bring more foot traffic along the Sherbrook Strip.
It would probably be good for the neighborhood, like it would bring everyone more business.
But Walter Spooner, the owner of Waltz on Inn Barbershop, says he hopes the housing units are priced appropriately.
What I'm trying to say is cheap condo or just affordable apartments, maybe just the same across the board.
A report says the project will have 8 affordable units and an additional 25% will meet federal affordable standards.
As long as it's for what the area needs, I'm great with it because we need a lot of affordable housing.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The hearing on the proposed development is set for September 29th. The desperate search for a 5-year-old boy in southwest Alberta has stretched into a 3rd day. Darius McDougall went missing Sunday during a walk with his siblings.
The smallest tidbit of information from one of those family members might be able to assist us on something else that we could look for with regards to this investigation.
Dozens of search and rescue members, along with RCMP and conservation officers, have been searching a campground in the Crow's Nest Pass using helicopters, drones, dogs, and underwater divers. Officials say the boy is on the autism spectrum and might have difficulty responding to his name. Air Canada says it's still working through more than 54,000 customer claims after a summer strike left thousands of passengers stranded.
They want you to give up, I would say. They tried to rebook us on over 120 carriers, but they couldn't find any flights for us.
Cindy Burns from Nova Scotia says she ultimately paid more than $5,000 out of pocket after her flight back from Ontario was cancelled. Multiple passengers tell CTV News that though their cases have been marked as resolved, they still haven't received their reimbursements. The airline says many customers have already received their payments and that the strike led to a significant backlog. The U.S. Secret Service says it has dismantled a hidden network that could have massively disrupted communications in New York as the city hosts world leaders at the UN General Assembly.
This network had the potential to disable cell phone towers and essentially shut down the cellular network in New York City.
More than 100,000 SIM cards were seized, all clustered within about 55 kilometers of the city, enough to send 40 million anonymous text messages every minute, crippling the cell grid. Investigators say the foiled plot is the work of an organized group working on behalf of a foreign nation, though no arrests have been made. Canadian privacy authorities say TikTok's efforts to block children and protect personal information are inadequate.
TikTok collects vast amounts of personal information about its users, including children. This data is being used to target the content and ads that users see, which can have harmful impacts, particularly on youth.
A joint investigation by federal and provincial officials found hundreds of thousands of Canadian children have accessed TikTok annually. And TikTok has been collecting and using their personal information, despite the company saying its platform isn't intended for people under the age of 13. TikTok has agreed to strengthen its communications on privacy measures and enhance methods to prevent underage access. Governments around the world have been scrutinizing TikTok because of concerns China could use the app to harvest users' data and advance its own interests. The Manitoba Museum is offering 3 days of free admission to mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, otherwise known as Orange Shirt Day. Between Sunday and Tuesday, you can enjoy complimentary admission to the museum galleries, science gallery, and planetarium. The museum notes capacity is limited in the science gallery and planetarium. Additionally, the museum will be holding special all-day programming and activities focused on the history of Indian residential schools and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action. The museum is open 10 to 4 all 3 days. Here's a look now at what's going on at Confusion Corner. You could see that fog is really affecting visibility this morning. You can barely see that pedestrian there on the street. So be mindful of that when you head out this morning. If you see any issues out on the streets, text them to us, please, at 10400. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about Crimestoppers, the important work they do in our community, helping to solve crime. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. And yeah, there's 12 volunteers. They're looking for more. Crimestoppers is encouraging you at home to be a good witness. So if you spot a crime or your child spots a crime, we're going to give you some tips on the best ways to do that throughout the morning. And these are tips that are coming from local volunteers and business owners like the one we're at right now. We're also going to be hearing about some Halloween safety, some bike safety, and some overall messaging surrounding it. They also have a brand new campaign alongside the Joy Smith Foundation to combat human trafficking. Stay with us throughout the morning. More at 6:37.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop. You can barely see any crime happening right now. It's so foggy outside.
I know, you wouldn't at all. Like, honestly, it's so thick. We're down to 0.2 kilometers visibility right now. It's like walking into a wall of water. A cold sauna. That's honestly what this is like, because it's as moist as that, but it's not warm like a sauna would be. It's chilly out here because of the dampness, not because of the temperatures themselves. We're still above seasonal, with 4 degrees being a normal low. We're coming in well above that at 10. It's just that fog is certainly a factor this morning. South winds are also very light, just 3 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling. The humidity is at 100% this morning. So the fog will be a factor through the morning hours, and in many places throughout the south, we're dealing with this heavy, dense fog. It's not to last all day long, though. I know yesterday we still had some heavier clouds kind of lingering into the afternoon. We might still have a few clouds behind this fog, but expecting to see bright sunny conditions later on today and really warm and above seasonal temperatures. And the above seasonal temperatures go right up into northern Manitoba, although northern Manitoba might be seeing some heavier clouds and a band of precipitation passing through, starting in the west, heading off into the east later on today. But while it might be a little bit soggy across northern Manitoba, it'll feel somewhat soggy with this heavy fog this morning, but sunshine is expected into the afternoon. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
New allegations have emerged against a number of Catholic archdioceses in Manitoba. CTV News has learned nearly a dozen lawsuits have been filed since March, alleging sexual assaults that span decades. And a warning, the details of this story may be disturbing to some viewers. 4 separate Catholic archdioceses, a diocese, and a Manitoba Bible camp are among the defendants in the cases. Each has a different alleged victim. The plaintiffs say they were sexually assaulted by priests and a staff member, all of whom are listed as non-parties in the lawsuits, at churches in a Catholic school between 1958 and 1986. 2 of the plaintiffs claim they were as young as 8 years old when they were allegedly sexually assaulted by priests, the statement of claim says. The victims say they suffered physical pain, PTSD, depression, psychological injuries, and more as a result of the incidents. The suits allege each institution failed in its duty to the victims. They are seeking general, special, aggravated, and punitive damages, as well as payment for past and future health care and costs of the suit. None of the allegations have been tested in court. Police are looking for witnesses after a 49-year-old woman was killed after being hit by a vehicle while waiting for a bus. It happened 1 week ago around 6:30 in the evening near Abinogi, Mi'kmaq, and St. Mary's Road. Police say the victim was waiting at a bus stop when a vehicle traveling eastbound veered onto the shoulder and hit her. The 49-year-old was rushed to hospital in critical condition, but later died from her injuries. The driver of the vehicle wasn't hurt and stayed at the scene. No charges have been laid, but police are investigating. Investigators are asking anyone with dashcam video to contact police or Crimestoppers. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister will travel to China in a matter of weeks in a move that could signal an easing of tensions between the two countries locked in a diplomatic standoff. But that could make it harder for Canada to repair another key relationship. CTV's Judy Trin explains.
A handshake with the second most powerful man in China. Premier Li Qiang. It comes as Canada and China are locked in a tariff battle over canola and electric vehicles. Next month, Foreign Minister Anita Anand will visit China, laying the groundwork for a top-level meeting.
Those discussions will deepen. I expect to. I will expect at the appropriate time to be meeting with President Xi Jinping, but continuing this dialogue with the Premier.
But this warming of trade relations could result in more tensions with the U.S. President Donald Trump wants its allies to do less trade with China. He also said that Canada's recognition of Palestine could impact a trade deal.
We have an independent foreign policy. We make decisions that are consistent with our values.
It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad.
But at the United Nations Leaders Week, common ground is being found on Ukraine. Trump is changing his tone on Russia.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do.
After his bilateral meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump posted on social media that he believes Ukraine is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form without ceding land to Russia. The Prime Minister did not rule out sending troops to help guarantee the security of Ukraine. And today, Carney also left open the door for Canada to be part of a stabilization force in Gaza once a ceasefire and a two-state solution is negotiated.
At least 14 people are dead and more than 100 others missing in Taiwan as super typhoon Regasa rips through parts of Asia. The strongest tropical storm on Earth this year has already left a trail of destruction in Taiwan and the Philippines. Violent winds upwards of 265 kilometers per hour, or the equivalent of a Category 5 hurricane. Flights leaving Hong Kong have been grounded, schools have been closed, and store shelves are empty as people stock up on essentials. The head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is weighing in on the new CFL rule changes, and Mike O'Shea isn't a fan.
Altering the game and removing uniquely Canadian items from the game, I would never be in favor of that.
O'Shea says he still needs to study how the changes announced Monday will affect certain plays, but the coach noted the league's decision to shorten the field and move the goalpost back makes it unlikely players will set any more records for field goal returns, something Bombers defensive back Trey Vavel just did on Saturday. Reviews from Bombers players are mixed too.
I guess the positive side, maybe we might be more inclined to kick longer ones, right? Because now there won't be a return, which that's kind of sucks too, right? Because that's unique part of the CFL, right? Whereas there's a return game, right?
I care deeply about this league and this style of football in Canada, and you want what's best for this league, and you hope that's what's going to happen.
If the task is to increase revenue and to get more eyeballs on the game, and I would imagine the people making those decisions have thought those things through. So yeah, I don't think it's changing the CFL game that much.
The changes will be rolled out over the next 2 seasons. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. St. Anne's Road is down to 1 lane in either direction between Inman Avenue and St. Mary's Road. Starting today, eastbound Grant will be partially closed between Nathaniel and Stafford, while the westbound lanes will be partially closed between Stafford and Harrow. And Scurfield will be down to 1 lane in each direction from Dover Court to Kenaston. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye, Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. And you can see that fog out there. That is certainly going to be a factor for your commute in. Give yourself some extra time. It will likely slow you down as visibility is down to 0.2 kilometers right now. Very, very foggy start to your day. It's feeling damp. You'll want that extra layer on. Our temperatures themselves aren't exactly cold. At 10 degrees, we are still well above seasonal, but that humidity, that dampness in the air, just a little water droplets falling on your skin, on your styled hair. All of that is certainly going to make it feel a little bit colder. We're seeing similar temperatures here through the southeast. It is cooler as we're looking off through the southwest right now in those single digits. Brandon coming in at that seasonal 4 degrees, but everybody else is well above that. And that includes northern Manitoba, where we're even seeing some low to mid-teens in some parts, like Island Lake 13 degrees, Churchill up at 14, a couple of places in the single digits, but they're high single digits this morning. And the temperatures will be on the rise again. The satellite image is showing very clear conditions. Fog doesn't read on the satellite image, but that's certainly the one factor that we will deal with this morning. 14 expected as kids are getting settled into class. By lunchtime today, hoping to see a bit more of that sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud, and 19 degrees, and increasing amounts of sunshine with increasing temperatures, headed up to 24 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school today, and our expected high just beyond that, about 25 today. Slightly cooler tomorrow, 18 degrees, but still above the seasonal daytime high of 16, and then temperatures on the rise again and staying there well above normal as we're looking into the weekend and into next week. Fog made for kind of a cool, or it might just be the dust that we're seeing in the area. It's harvest time out in Notre Dame de Lourdes. Thanks to Diane for the photo. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is travel. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word travel with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. From dangerous diets to so-called miracle cures, false claims and unrealistic fitness fads, medical professionals are raising a red flag about misleading medical advice that's flooding social media and being consumed especially by women and girls. CTV's Vanessa Wright has more on this prescription for trouble and why you shouldn't believe everything you scroll.
Medical misinformation, according to experts, is spreading like wildfire online, especially when it comes to women's health. It's prevalent on everyday apps like Instagram and TikTok, make it harder to decipher between what is true and what is fake.
There's no fact checking in so much that's out there today. So when you look at platforms such as Meta, they've taken away those safeguards to actually fact check what people are putting on.
While some Maritimers admit to going online for information, they also express concern over its credibility.
I try to go to several sites, hoping to find the good sites, and a lot of times you get down the bottom and you see that they're advertising a certain thing.
I really find that difficult these days to know who people are saying things, crazy things. So yeah, of course, I'm very concerned about the quality of the information I'm getting off of Google, for sure.
Despite that, many still turn to it for help. Dr. Murphy Colbeck believes the lack of access to a doctor may explain why.
I mean, if you look at surgery for women's health, it's much lower on the priority list for many hospitals. Women can't get into primary care providers. We don't have access for women for many of the health conditions that they have. And they're desperate. They're looking for something to be able to go to that's going to help them.
But it could come at a dangerous price. U.S. President Donald Trump is facing backlash following his claims the use of Tylenol by pregnant women could be linked to autism.
To have the President of the United States come out with absolutely no scientific backing, and in fact saying something that it is dangerous, it's wrong.
She says the best thing to do when in pursuit of medical information is to check your sources. But some feel it's a small solution to bigger issues in the healthcare system.
There is a massive population of people who, because of their race, of their skin color, of whatever prejudices are so deeply ingrained in the system, truly cannot access it. And that's issue number one immediately.
Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's 10 degrees outside this morning, a foggy start to your Wednesday. We've got south winds on the lighter side, just 3 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 100%. Now, 10 degrees is above seasonal. Doesn't even sound that cool, does it? But you will want that extra layer on, and maybe a waterproof layer. Honestly, you step outside and it's like walking into a wall of water. The fog this morning is so thick, so dense, so low that you're just kind of walking into little water droplets everywhere. And there's a coolness to it because, I mean, 10 degrees, while it's well above seasonal, 10 moist degrees all over your skin feels chilly. Anyway, throw that extra layer on this morning. You will be ditching it later on today because the temperatures will be on the rise once this fog burns off. 25 degrees is where we're headed today, well above normal. A seasonal daytime high, just for a reference point, that would be about 16 degrees. So we're going to soar beyond that today with south winds picking up to about 15 clicks, but overall remaining on the lighter side. The fog will only likely be an issue through the morning hours. Then tonight, clear, 14 degrees, another well above seasonal night with plenty of sunshine expected tomorrow, just not as much heat. However, 18, our high for tomorrow, is still above what is normal for this time of year, and we're going to rebound again because on the other side of that, we've got these temperatures back up in the low to mid 20s, lasting there not just through the weekend, but even throughout the early part of next week.
The city is considering a speed limit reduction on a street in Wolseley after the road was turned into a new transit route. A motion put forward by Councillor Cindy Gilroy would see the speed limit on Arlington Street between Portage Avenue and Wolseley Avenue drop to 30 kilometers an hour. Her motion says residents are speaking out as buses are traveling faster and creating more noise than they're used to, even shaking nearby homes. The City Centre Community Committee will consider the motion on Monday. The Day for Truth and Reconciliation is observed on September 30th. It's a time of reflection on historic residential school abuses. And as CTV's Harrison Shin tells us, organizations are gearing up all week, including the University of Winnipeg.
No, we have like this left. Let's go. Greetings.
The orange shirt. It's come to symbolize the resilience of Indigenous culture in Canada despite the dark legacy of residential schools. Each year, thousands of shirts are worn, and here, the University of Winnipeg is giving away 500 for free.
It's a way for us to come forward and, take part and join hands in this effort in understanding and reconciling for all the discrimination and institutional horrors that have happened.
So far, responses have been positive.
I think it's awesome that it's free because then every person can have it, especially like students. Sometimes we're not the most wealthy of people and have the excess of money to be buying shirts.
Every 2 years, the shirt is updated with a new design in time for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, which is also Orange Shirt Day.
I chose this year's artist based on, she was a vendor here at a market we had last year. She has amazing artwork, stationery. I really enjoy her traditional Anishinaabe floral designs.
Michaela Gilbert's creation features a jingle dress dancer whose dance brings good medicine and a young grass dancer symbolizing a path forward to follow. Gilbert is from the Saging First Nation. She wasn't available for an interview but sent a statement. Gilbert says, in part, this would be a good way to represent our journey of healing and creating a new path for our youth to learn, remember, and to honor the meaning of Orange Shirt Day. She miigwech Grace and U of W for this opportunity. For Red Ed, seeing people wear the shirt is refreshing.
When I see them walking at a distance, it signals to me that they're an ally, that they're a friend.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Canada's Liberal government says it will begin its long-awaited gun buyback program next month after questions were raised by some leaked audio.
On Monday, a minister says that his program won't work. On Tuesday, he says he's going ahead with the program. When will the Prime Minister fire this minister?
Audio of a conversation where the Public Safety Minister questions the enforceability of the program was leaked. Minister Gary Ananda Sangari said the context of his comments were that he wanted the buyback implemented differently and faster. As the program stands now, firearms owners have well into 2026 to comply, and big questions remain about police resources. The program will start with a 6-week pilot project in Nova Scotia next month before opening up nationwide this fall. It appears common ground is being found on Ukraine at the United Nations Leaders Week in New York City. Donald Trump is changing his tone on Russia.
It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them
Meeting
look
with
bad.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump said Kyiv could, quote, win all of Ukraine back in its original form with the support of Europe and NATO. Trump has repeatedly expressed his desire to end the war, but has previously said it would likely involve Ukraine giving up some territory. Crews had an Oktoberfest-sized cleanup in Rhode Island this week. A tractor trailer spilled cases of beer when it hit a bridge support in Pawtucket ahead of the morning commute. Eyewitnesses said there was beer spilled all over the highway, and presumably there were many frustrated beer drinkers in the region. This Cape Breton pumpkin patch has found a way to thrive despite some tough conditions this year.
I was fortunate enough that this field here, where they were growing the pumpkins, were close to that one of the ponds, so I could irrigate them.
Ed has been farming for most of his life, and he says this was the driest summer he can remember. To make up for a lack of rain, Ed used irrigation to feed water to his field. Stores nearby are thankful for the harvest because it saves them from having to source pumpkins from outside the area. And here's a look at what's going on Osborne Street. It is foggy out there. Visibility is really down as well. We also have a traffic alert to tell you about. A crash has knocked down a traffic standard on Osborne at Granite Way. Lights are flashing red in all directions, so you'll need to treat it as an all-way stop, and you can expect delays in that area. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.36. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.28. And the lowest price in the city is $1.24. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today. Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
All right, it's not that there's a lot of fog out here this morning. No, sorry. You know, that's not what I meant to say. There is a lot of fog out here. It's not that there's a lot of clouds out here this morning. It's the fog. That's a better take on it. Okay, but honestly, the fog is so low level and thick right now. You breathe in and it tickles your nose. You breathe through your mouth and it, like, you can feel the water droplets going in right now. There's this dampness to the air. It's heavy. 10 degrees. That's well above seasonal start to the day, but it does feel cool. You'll want the layer on, especially until the sun rises, which won't happen for us until about 7:18 this morning. That humidity is sitting up there at 100% this morning. The winds are light though, and the sky fairly clear. Like, I can even already see the day glow of where the sun is going to be rising off to the east right now. It kind of has an eerie look to it with this heavy fog, but it will be an above seasonal day. We just need this fog to burn off. Of course, the sun has to rise first before that happens, and then that sunshine into the afternoon will cause the temperatures to soar. But for northern Manitoba, things could be soggy for you, not due to the fog, but a system of rain passing across the north. And we've got Ainsley out and about this morning, checking in. Stopping crime, Ainsley. You're like a crime fighter out there.
You don't want me doing that, Terry. I appreciate your optimism, though. Rob McKenzie's joining us now with Crimestoppers. Tell us about what you guys do.
Yeah, so I think the biggest misconception the community has is they think Crimestoppers is a police program. We are a community-based program run by volunteers made up of members of the community. Crimestoppers is really a partnership with the Winnipeg Police Service, the community, and of course yourself, the media. So we encourage people to come forward and report information that they have that could lead to and help solve a crime, and they can do that completely anonymously. They don't have to worry about reprisal or retaliation. And if that tip leads to solving a crime, they could qualify for a cash reward up to $2,000.
Oh, wow. And this applies for businesses as well, because as you said earlier, some of them aren't even reporting. They don't know about the newer processes.
Yeah, so I think one of the things is there's that transition with technology. So technology has enabled the Winnipeg Police Service to enable online reporting. So we're encouraging everybody to come forward, and even those small crimes like shoplifting or even property crimes, somebody steals your lawnmower out of your shed, and if you have a surveillance camera, you can take that image And you can make that report online to the Winnipeg Police Service very quickly and efficiently while you're enjoying your morning coffee and get that information into the hands of the police.
And just simply put, as a participant, be more aware, be more observant. Are those some of the other tips that you're instilling?
Yeah, be a good witness. Pay attention. Do it safely, but take note of license plates, take note of colors of cars, descriptions of vehicles, the clothing that a person is wearing, their height, any distinguishing characteristics that individual might have, and just make some mental notes and be a good witness. And if you see something, say something.
Thank you so much. You know what, Terry? I actually was wrong. All of us are here in this community fighting crime. Everybody, stay with us on Your Morning.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones is trading higher. The Nasdaq also jumping overnight. The S&P index making small gains. The loonie falling to 72.10 cents U.S. overnight. The Hang Seng is up 359 points. The Nikkei index adding 136 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. A number of new measles exposures to tell you about, one at a Winkler school and another at a Winkler grocery store. Public health officials say anyone who was at Garden Valley Collegiate in Winkler between September 15th through to the 18th may have been exposed. And it's a similar story if you were shopping at Real Canadian Superstore on Cargill Road in Winkler September 15th between 3 p.m. and 10. In addition, worshippers at Winkler Evangelical Mennonite Mission Church on September 18th could have been exposed between 6 and 11 p.m. If you were at any of these locations, you're asked to monitor for symptoms. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's anticipating a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping soon.
Those discussions will deepen. I will expect at the appropriate time to be meeting with President Xi Jinping, but continuing this dialogue with the Premier.
Carney met with the second most powerful man in China, Premier Li Qiang. It's the first time in nearly 8 years a Canadian Prime Minister has met with a Chinese leader. Canada and China are locked in a tariff battle over canola and electric vehicles. But Carney said there are a range of opportunities to broaden Canada and China's trade relationship, including clean and conventional energy and agriculture. Quebec's police watchdog made the rare move to call a press conference to address the fatal shooting of a teen by police.
You have to trust us. We're the one who are doing the investigation. We're an independent office. Our mission is to shed the light on what happened, and that's what we're going to do.
15-year-old Nuran Rizei was shot and killed by Longueuil officer Sunday during a police operation. Investigators seized ski masks, baseball bats, and backpacks. The only gun recovered from the scene was the officer's service weapon. Longueuil police has confirmed officers has been put on indefinite leave. Rizei's parents have hired a lawyer. Tuesday was the International Day of Sign Language, and to mark the occasion, advocates and government officials raised the deaf flag on the grounds of the Legislative Building. According to the World Federation of the Deaf, the flag was created by Arnaud Ballard, a French deafblind artist. Turquoise represents the deaf community and sign language. Yellow represents light and enlightenment, and dark blue represents the earth and humanity. Speakers at the event emphasized being able to communicate is not just a luxury, but a human right.
It's the foundation for learning, for connection, and for identity. When deaf children are given access to American Sign Language early on, they thrive. They build relationships, they express themselves, and they grow up to be proud of who they are.
It's estimated there are more than 70 million deaf people worldwide who use more than 300 different sign languages. The Winnipeg Jets were on home ice last night for a preseason tilt against the Edmonton Oilers. The game marked the preseason debut of Jonathan Toews in a Jets jersey. Toews took the opening faceoff to get the game underway. The Oilers score first, then in the second, with the Jets down 1-0, Colin Miller ties it for the Jets. The Oilers were up 3-1 with just over a minute left in the game when Colby Barlow scores for the Jets, making it 3-2. That's how it ended, with the Oilers prevailing 3-2. Winnipeg pays a visit to Edmonton for a game on Friday. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. St. Anne's Road is down to 1 lane in either direction between Inman Avenue and St. Mary's Road. Starting today, eastbound Grant will be partially closed between Nathaniel and Stafford, while the westbound lanes will be partially closed between Stafford and Harrow. And Scurfield will be down to 1 lane in each direction from Dover Court to Kenaston. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Ooh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? Wow, that's gorgeous. Okay, so it's foggy out there this morning and 10 degrees right now with winds on the lighter side. South winds are 3 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 100%. That is gorgeous. Can we just take the stamp off of there and keep looking outside for a second? Right? Oh, take a moment, take that in. All right, let's come back here because we've got to get all the way around the province in the next minute and see what's happening. Because for northern Manitoba, there is actually going to be a bit of precipitation. Right now, it's still in Saskatchewan, but that will eventually be moving into parts of the north. You're still going to have some really well above seasonal temperatures expected, high teens and low 20s. And for some, you'll enjoy a fair bit of sunshine before that precipitation gets to you. If it does, in fact, I think it's going to be arcing in the most northern stretch. So places like Lynn Lake, yes, you will likely see some of that later on into the morning or midday. 13 degrees, so a little bit cooler where the heavier clouds will be, but if the sun is going to be shining for you, it will be warming you up into those low to mid 20s or high 20s here through southwestern Manitoba. Into the southeast, yes, we're dealing with some fog for now, but it will be burning off. And behind it, clear conditions and plenty of sunshine to take us into those mid-20 temperatures. And that goes further to the east of us as well. Northwestern Ontario also well above what you would expect this time of year. So just for a reference point, 16 degrees, that would be a normal daytime high. Headed up to about 25 today. Closer to seasonal tomorrow as we dip down into the high teens, but only for a day before we're rebounding again and staying with these well above normal temps right into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. It's been more than a month since an Air Canada strike led to the cancellation of flights around the world. CTV News recently put out a call to viewers asking for an update on their compensation claims with the airline. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has been flooded with emails from passengers across the country and the world.
Air Canada is back in the air, though some passengers say their claims remain grounded.
They want you to give up, I would say.
Nova Scotian Cindy Burns' summer trip with her sister and parents to Ontario ended in frustration when their Air Canada flight home was cancelled.
They tried to rebook us on over 120 carriers, but they couldn't find any flights for us.
Though a quick look online and Burns was able to book a flight home on WestJet. It cost her $5,400 out of pocket. Under passenger protection regulations, Air Canada should have been the one booking and footing the bill for the next available flight home for the Burns family.
I need to try and get this money back as soon as possible, right?
The country's largest airline says it's still working through more than 54,000 customer claims. CTV News has heard from multiple passengers who say their cases have been marked resolved, even though they haven't received their reimbursement.
Passengers have been having difficulty submitting their claims to Air Canada, both for reimbursement for expenses incurred and for compensation under the European Union's rules.
You're doing yourself a lot of damage if you don't behave fairly towards your customers.
The Offer family say they've been going back and forth with the airline since their holiday to Canada from the UK went sideways after their flight home was cancelled. They've received some compensation, but not all.
They're refusing to pay for my husband's lost wages.
It is owed under Article 19 of the Montreal Convention for passengers traveling internationally.
The Canadian Transportation Agency says an investigation is currently underway with respect to the Air Canada summer labour disruptions. Air Canada tells us that claims are expected to take between 4 to 6 weeks to process and that the sudden August shutdown at airports like here at Pearson International have led to a significant backlog. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
For two Flin Flon graduates, an ominous wall of smoke and fire became the backdrop for a once-in-a-lifetime photo shoot. They didn't know it at the time, but within 24 hours, they would be racing to escape the blaze. CTV's Danton Unger has their story.
A moment of calm celebration against a backdrop of tragedy.
It was my very last photo shoot of obviously the season.
Photographer Brandy Bloxham captured these grad photos just outside Flin Flon in late May with a wall of smoke and flame raging in the background.
It was just really ironic that these kids are uncertain about their future, and then here we are the whole town, same thing, right?
It's very surreal feeling to look at them. Spiraling so out of control in such a short amount of time.
Graduates Lexi Hines and Patrick Benoit say at the time they didn't think much of the fire, which was still relatively small.
It's so surreal to think that that tiny little fire that we thought, oh, it'd be really cool, make a really good once-in-a-lifetime opportunity photo background, it contributed to so many losses in the area.
Less than 24 hours later, the flames billowed out of control.
I was just sitting there on the couch, and then my dad runs into the house. We're being evacuated, and I'm just confused, not ready for it.
Thousands were forced to flee their homes for nearly a month as the blaze became the largest in the province, growing 7 times the size of Winnipeg. And for many on the Saskatchewan side of the border, including Bloxham, when they returned, all that was left was ash.
I'm from Denair Beach, so I lost my home. And the whole community, over 200 homes have been taken.
Which is why she says it took months for her to gather the strength to edit these photos. Yet looking at them now, as the community comes together with plans to rebuild, Bloxham says she sees something new: resilience.
The hope and the beauty, it's something beautiful in it. I don't know. I can't really explain it.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Taking a look at what we're seeing outside right now. It's foggy. We'll be back after this with more Your Morning Winnipeg. Stay with us. It's Wednesday, September 24th. Today, Sherbrook Inn housing plan, how a West Broadway parking lot could soon turn into 86 new homes. Plus, TikTok under fire. A report finds the app collected sensitive data from Canadian children. And moving the goalposts, Bombers coach Mike O'Shea pushes back on new CFL rule changes. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. It is 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot in the next hour for you, including a team of researchers that are sitting in the Arctic right now on an icebreaker ship, which is pretty amazing. Imagine waking up in the Arctic and that's your job. Well, they're going to join us at 7:52. We're going to speak with 2 researchers on the boat today. They're actually going to be on the boat talking to us, telling us about some of the work they're doing, what they're looking for, what they're searching. Some of this area, like it's ice that has never been searched before. So they're
what a cool mission to be on, or cold mission to be on. Right?
Absolutely. So we're going to learn more about that. But it's actually kind of nice here. We're not seeing that kind of ice here, not that kind of cold either, which I'm happy about.
You call it nice because you're dry. I feel like I need a blow dryer. Every time I step outside and I come back in, I'm like, oof. The humidity out there, it's the fog. It's the fog, but it looks cool. Let's take a look. Yeah. All right, so 10 degrees, and look at this. That looks cool. And the visibility is very poor this morning, so it's down to less than a kilometer. I think it was 0.2 kilometers last time that I checked. 10 degrees right now, south winds, 3 clicks, the pressure falling, humidity at 100%. It's so eerie looking out there. But I mean, it's more pleasant to enjoy on this side of the glass where we're nice and dry than when you're stepping out into it. It is like walking into a wall of water. And then there's that coolness to the air as well. Even though our temperatures are well above seasonal, at 10 degrees, we're beginning the day more than doubling what is normal, 4 degrees, a seasonal low temperature. Clear conditions through most of the province. We will see a few extra clouds across the most northern stretch, and that's where there's going to be a little bit of precipitation today. So right now it's off to the west, but it will be arcing through northern Manitoba later on today and then pushing from the northwest into the northeast. But that's the one place that's really going to see anything other than clear conditions or fog this morning. But then once that fog burns off, sunshine into the afternoon, that'll really take these temperatures up, soaring well above seasonal, mid-20s. It's going to be another beautiful day. And we've got a stretch of days that are going to remain well above seasonal. It does look like there could be, again, later on into the week or moving for the weekend, perhaps another round of precipitation to move into northern Manitoba. But for southern Manitoba, we're not seeing anything like that. So 25 degrees expected today, slightly cooler for tomorrow, but on the rise again. And we're looking to finish off the week and kick off the weekend in those low to mid 20s, and then gets even a degree or two warmer as we're looking further into next week. Our art today, I had nothing to show you, so you better send me some, please. Let me know what you're working on. Take a picture of it, draw color paint, send your art to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. 2 Winnipeg foster parents have been charged with an assault that left a child in hospital in critical condition. First off, a warning. The details of this story may be disturbing for some viewers. According to Winnipeg Police, on Friday, their officers were called to a home in North Winnipeg for a report of a child with serious injuries. That child was taken to hospital in critical condition with what police describe as life-altering injuries. 3 other children from the same home were also taken to the hospital for assessment. Police allege one of these children, who is in hospital in stable condition, also showed signs of an assault. Police say the critically injured child was attacked sometime between September 17th and 18th and did not receive medical help. Now, a 25-year-old woman, the child's foster mother, is charged with aggravated assault, and failure to provide the necessaries of life. And the 26-year-old foster father faces a charge of failure to provide the necessaries of life. Foster parenting falls under the jurisdiction of the provincial government. Families Minister Nahani Fontaine says it's early in the investigation, but says her office is committed to keeping children safe.
Anytime children are harmed is not a good day for Manitoba, but for right now we're focused on making sure that those children get the supports that they need and that the WPS have the information that they need to be able to do the investigation.
None of the allegations against the foster parents in this case has been tested in court. Police say the accused have not been named to protect the identity of the victims. A large housing project is planned for the Sherbrook Inn's parking lot. The development comes as the hotel in the West Broadway neighborhood is under new ownership. And as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, plans include 6 stories and 86 units of housing.
A crumbling parking lot now, but one day dozens of people could be living here behind the Sherbrook Inn in West Broadway.
It's not that nice of a parking lot, in my opinion. I'd rather have the building.
If it's family housing, it sounds like it would be a good plan.
A public hearing is scheduled at City Hall to consider a proposal that would see the Sherbrook Inn and the hotel's parking lot subdivided to make way for a 6-story, 86-unit multifamily building with a ground floor of businesses on the parking lot. A report also shows 44 parking stalls, including 14 for the hotel. The plans come as a new owner took over the Sherbrook Inn last year.
More people on the streets is good for safety.
David McKeegan helps out behind the hotel's bar, has lived in the neighborhood for 40 years and welcomes the development.
Sherbrook Street here has been doing very well with progress, a lot of new businesses and a little bit of life, so to just keep the things moving in the right direction.
Bringing more people to the area could bring more foot traffic along the Sherbrook Strip.
It would probably be good for the neighborhood, like it would bring everyone more business.
But Walter Spooner, the owner of Waltz On In Barbershop, says he hopes the housing units are priced appropriately.
What I'm trying to say is cheap condo or just affordable apartments, maybe just the same across the board.
A report says the project will have 8 affordable units and an additional 25% will meet federal affordable standards.
As long as it's for what the area needs, I'm great with it because we need a lot of affordable housing.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The hearing on the proposed development is set for September 29th. There is still no sign of a missing 5-year-old boy in Alberta, and crews are now expanding their search area.
We are offering every star resource possible throughout Alberta and BC to support this search.
RCMP say Darius McDougall was walking with his siblings on a mountain road when he got separated around 11:30 Sunday morning. The area off of Highway 3 near the Alberta-BC boundary includes steep terrain with dozens of search and rescue members focusing on an area about 2 kilometers in. RCMP say foul play isn't suspected, but that they're keeping the investigation broad and looking at every possible angle. Nearly 100 searchers and divers are scouring the area with drones, dogs, and ATVs. An investigation says TikTok has been collecting sensitive data from Canadian children.
There's certain things people consent to, but there's certain things that we find just goes too far, and that's the issue of under 13 children. We just found that for that, even with consent, we find that that's not appropriate.
The joint investigation by the Federal Privacy Commissioner looked into whether valid and meaningful consent was being obtained for the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. It found TikTok was gathering data on who the users were and their spending power to decide what content to feed them back. TikTok prohibits users under the age of 13 or 14 in Quebec from using the platform, but many still do. The Privacy Commissioner says TikTok has now agreed to enhance its age verification system to keep underage users off the platform. Shocking moments in a Florida courtroom after a jury found Ryan Ruth guilty of trying to assassinate Donald Trump. As the verdict was being read, Ruth grabbed a pen and stabbed himself in the neck before bailiffs restrained him. Ruth now faces a possible life sentence. His daughter was chasing the car he was in as he left court in custody after the verdict. The judge announced Ruth will be sentenced on December 18th. When was the last time you struck up a conversation with a stranger? It's something a group of academics is suggesting you do more often. They say even brief social interactions help our mental health and mood and our feelings of connection. Canadian Gillian Sandstrom, an associate professor of psychology at England's University of Sussex, has found chats with strangers make you feel woven into the fabric of your neighborhood, your community, or your school. Those kinds of benefits are behind a national campaign by the Toronto-based group Genwell, which plans to stage the first Talk to a Stranger week in late November. They say practice makes perfect, and this woman sure has a lot of practice.
Always take a practice shot. My husband, he was a wonderful golfer, and he said, we have to go out when I retire. And I said, okay, I'll be brave and I'll learn it.
At 100 years old, Pearl Atwood is still swinging strong. She's been playing for 50 years and celebrated her 100th birthday on the course. She golfs every Wednesday morning on a Pennsylvania golf course, one of 60 women playing in a ladies' league. Pearl credits her longevity in life and on the golf course to her faith. Now let's take a look outside now at the Norwood Bridge. You can't see it. It's so foggy out there, and that, of course, is affecting the drive in this morning. And we do have a traffic alert for you. A crash has knocked down a traffic standard on Osborne at Granite Way. Lights are flashing red in all directions there, so you'll need to treat it as an always stop and can expect delays in that area. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400. Be careful out there. All right, let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about Crimestoppers, the important work they do in our community. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. And I liked how you used that word community, because a lot of people think that it is just law enforcement, and it's not. It is community-led. They've got 12 volunteers, always looking for more, and they're providing useful tips for business owners and families if you see something. So the message here is to be a good witness. If you spot something, either report it to police or anonymously report it to Crimestoppers, and you might even be able to get a cash reward as well. So coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, we're chatting with some of those local business owners about some things that other businesses can do to keep their business secure, whether it be good lighting, like where we're at right now, or a nice secure entrance. We will tell you all about it at 7:28.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. Is it getting foggier out there? It looks even thicker.
It is even thicker. We went from 0.2 kilometers visibility to 0 visibility right now, according to the airport. So, but look how cool it looks. I mean, honestly, I'm irritated with it because it's damp and I feel cold, and I styled my hair and now it doesn't look like anything. But when you get to just enjoy that visual, that's cool. All right, let's talk about how cool though. So 11 degrees is 10.5, but we round up to 11 right now with, yes, this heavy fog. I can't even see the buildings just a block or two away. South-southeast winds, they're going to remain on the lighter side. They're 6 kilometers per hour right now. Pressure is rising, and that humidity is sitting at 100%. So there's that dampness I've been talking about. As soon as you step outside, oh, good morning. I can see the person on the patio next to me, barely, like this little silhouette. I was like, what's moving over there? He probably can't see me back. That's how thick it is. So as far as the fog goes, though, it's likely to only last through the morning hours into the afternoon. We're going to enjoy some sunshine, soaring temperatures to go along with it. That'll be southern Manitoba. For northern Manitoba, the most northern stretch will likely see some clouds building up and some precipitation passing through. But even there, above seasonal temperatures, they're expected across the entire province. And not just for today, playing out the rest of this week, the weekend, even into next week. We'll have a slightly cooler day tomorrow, dropping down into the high teens, but 16 degrees is normal for this time of year. We're likely to stay above that and then bounce back up into those low to mid 20s for the rest of the week and weekends.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Thank you, Terry. It's time now for our question of the day. We want to know, if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would it be? You can text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. It's no rumor, the world's finest Fleetwood Mac tribute band is coming to Winnipeg, and we want you to go. Rumors of Fleetwood Mac will hit the Burton Cummings Theatre stage on Saturday, October 18th, and you could be there. Your Morning Winnipeg is giving away a pair of tickets to the show. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form. Good luck. All right, as Terry just mentioned, visibility is down to 0 because of this fog, so please be careful when you head out this morning. We'll be back after this break. Good morning. New allegations have emerged against a number of Catholic archdioceses in Manitoba. CTV News has learned nearly a dozen lawsuits have been filed since March, alleging sexual assaults that span decades. And a warning, the details of this story may be disturbing to some viewers. 4 separate Catholic archdioceses, a diocese, and a Manitoba Bible camp are among the defendants in the cases. Each has a different alleged victim. The plaintiffs say they were sexually assaulted by priests and a staff member, all of whom are listed as non-parties in the lawsuit, at churches and a Catholic school between 1958 and 1986. 2 of the plaintiffs claim they were as young as 8 years old when they were allegedly sexually assaulted by priests. The statement of claim says, the victims say they suffered physical pain, PTSD, depression, psychological injuries, and more as a result of the incidents. The suits allege each institution failed in its duty to the victims. They're seeking general, special, aggravated, and punitive damages, as well as payment for past and future health care and costs of the suit. None of the allegations has been tested in court. The head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is weighing in on the new CFL rule changes, and Mike O'Shea isn't a fan.
Altering the game and removing uniquely Canadian items from the game, I would never be in favor of that.
O'Shea says he still needs to study how the changes announced Monday will affect certain plays, but the coach noted the league's decision to shorten the field and move the goalpost back makes it unlikely players will set any more records for field goal returns, something Bombers defensive back Trey Vavel just did on Saturday. Reviews from Bombers players are mixed too.
I guess the positive side, maybe we might be more inclined to kick longer ones, right? Because now there won't be a return, which that's kind of sucks too, right? Because that's unique part of the CFL, right? Whereas there's a return game, right?
I care deeply about this league and this style of football in Canada, and you want what's best for this league, and you hope that's what's going to happen.
If the task is to increase revenue and to get more eyeballs on the game, and I would imagine the people making those decisions have thought those things through. I don't think it's changing the CFL game that much.
The changes will be rolled out over the next 2 seasons.
And nobody is catching that guy.
And here's a look at what's going on in the current traffic situation around McPhillip Street. The city is reminding drivers to reduce their speed and use caution due to the heavy fog you're seeing there. And lights are flashing red in all directions at Osborne and Granite Way following a crash in that area as well. So please be careful when you head out this morning. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400. Here's some entertainment news now. Winnipeg Comic-Con is adding some more stars to its lineup. Sean Astin is among those announced yesterday. He's best known for his roles in The Lord of the Rings and The Goonies. Harry Lloyd of Arcane and Jamie Maguire of From Fame will also be here to meet fans. Winnipeg Comic-Con will take place October 24th to the 26th at the RBC Convention Center. Chantal Kreviazuk and Tom Cochrane are being inducted in the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. Since her first album in 1997, she's Kriviazik's won 2 Juno Awards, and her 2006 album, Ghost Stories, reached #2 on the Billboard Canadian Albums chart. Tom Cochrane was born in Lynn Lake. The 72-year-old has 8 Juno Awards and is already a member of the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and the Order of Canada. The 2 artists will be inducted alongside Katie Lang and Murray McLaughlin on October 17th. An emotional Jimmy Kimmel made his return to late night.
If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
In his monologue, Kimmel praised Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, for forgiving the man accused of killing her husband. Kimmel's first show back was also a defense of free speech. He called efforts by U.S. President Donald Trump and others to silence comedians such as himself un-American. Last night's show was not carried by 2 major U.S. affiliate networks, Sinclair and Nexstar.
Let it be all it is, small and still and better left alone. Some things are better broken.
And Canada's Sarah McLachlan was the musical act for last night's show. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with The Floor, and at 9 catch Shark Tank. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
I love this view right now. Through the Bathfitter Live Eye, Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Otherwise, I'm complaining about the fog. I know I haven't had many nice things to say about it, except aesthetically, it looks stunning. Reality, step outside, and then you just feel so damp, and there's a chill to the air, even though our temperatures, I'll remind you again, they're well above seasonal. But when you're walking into water, it's how I described earlier. It's like a sauna, but it's, you know, saunas are typically warm, and this is not. This is just like cool, damp air. 11 degrees at the moment in Winnipeg and Pinawa, in the Morden Winkler area as well. We've got some 12 showing up in Portage and in Sprague. Over in the southeast, single digits. So you can see it's considerably cooler in areas just off to the west of us, although still for the most part seasonal or above. And that includes much of northern Manitoba. We're even seeing some double digits in Island Lake and in Churchill this morning. Fairly clear conditions through most of the province. You can see off to the west the little bit of precipitation that'll be arcing across the most northern stretch of the province. But here through southern Manitoba, once the fog burns off, we're actually in for plenty of sunshine throughout the day today. So yes, it's a foggy morning, getting to about 14 degrees by the time kids are settling into class. 19 by lunchtime, starting to see that sunshine and increasing sun, increasing temps, getting up to 24 degrees by the time kids are coming home from school, with 25 being our expected high for today. 16, just for a reference point, is a normal daytime high, so we'll be a little bit cooler tomorrow, but still above seasonal and on the rise again as we're looking through the latter part of the week and weekend. Here's a gorgeous shot of harvest time out in Notre Dame de Lourdes. Thanks to Diane for the photo. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is travel. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word travel with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. Dialysis is a life-saving procedure for patients with severe kidney disease, but it can have some severe side effects. Now, a Canadian study is looking at whether a new type of filter can help. CTV's Pauline Chan explains.
Frank Ansell bundles himself in a parka, heated blanket, and even gloves when he goes for dialysis 3 times a week.
I suffer from low blood pressure, high blood sugars, and I'm just exhausted.
His diabetes also complicates things, but Dr. Pavel Roshanov says many patients experience severe side effects.
Many people are itchy all over their bodies, so that's quite a bothersome symptom that patients tell us about. Many people have a difficult time sleeping, and they have restless legs at night. Many people are breathless in the days between their dialysis treatments.
In dialysis, the patient's blood is circulated through a dialyzer, a type of filter that removes toxins from the blood and rebalances some of the blood's chemicals. But a new type of filter is now available that promises to do that even more efficiently and filter out significantly more toxins.
And so in doing so, we hope that patients will feel better and live longer and stay out of hospital admissions for longer.
The study, led by London Health Sciences, is now recruiting some 4,800 participants across Canada.
We're conducting a large randomized control trial currently in patients who undergo maintenance, chronic maintenance hemodialysis.
The main problem is the cost of the newer filters, 3 times the cost of the current high-flux filters.
The cost to healthcare systems can pretty quickly build up, and dialyzer costs are routinely one of the top costs in a dialysis program.
So the researchers will be examining the range of benefits to patients. They hope to complete the study in 5 to 6 years. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Coming up, we're learning all about Crimestoppers and the incredible work they do to ensure that crime gets solved anonymously. Stay with us for more details. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We were talking about Crimestoppers throughout the morning, and a lot of businesses might need some extra support to tackle crime. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. Yeah, we're at Four Crowns restaurant right now alongside Ravi, one of the owners, and Rob to my right with Winnipeg Crimestoppers. Now, when it comes to providing other business owners with some useful tips to keep their business safe, what are some suggestions you have, Ravi?
First of all, keep the number to Crimestoppers on speed dial. That's a good one. But lots of cameras, really good lighting, a lot of staff training, a lot of discussions on how to handle, emergency situations. Make sure your staff are trained on how to give descriptions, how to take descriptions. Do scenario role playing with them, right? What was he wearing, how tall he was, how long was his hair, what color was his hair, what color was his jacket, his shoes, whatever, right? Get them quick at thinking about these things come emergency situations. But as you can see in the entrance here, we've got a lot of cameras. We've got a guided entrance. It's not just an open path into the room. And just really good lighting. So be prepared to get good pictures. Have a guided entrance. It's really important. And a security check stop if possible, right? In today's world, like with walkouts and like as a restaurant owner, we deal with walkouts and a lot of nonsense that we don't need to be dealing with. These precautions help a lot. You wouldn't believe how many people actually call in and give us the information on who did that to us, right? With theft, with vandalism, we catch 9 out of 10 of the people that we post, and it's fantastic because we have these precautions in place.
Wow. And then when it comes to the reporting itself, you might not... Crimestoppers is anonymous, right? You might not want to go directly to police. Speak to that anonymous piece and how it all works.
Yeah, so you can teach your employees that they have the option to anonymously report something through Crimestoppers. So a lot of people work where they live, and they know the people that are coming in. They went to school with them or grew up with them. They're trapped behind a counter, so they don't necessarily want to be a witness. So Crimestoppers gives them that option to submit that information anonymously, and they will never have to worry about retaliation. And again, there's that $2,000 reward if their tip leads to a crime being solved.
Thank you guys so much. More coming up at 7:42.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And outside, it's foggy.
So foggy.
And it's really impacting hair today.
I know.
And your drive, obviously.
Oh, my goodness. That's just it. It's not the kind of day, like, don't spend a lot of extra time on your hair today because it's so damp. Like, every time I step outside, I was saying I feel like I need a blow dryer or a plastic bag over my head, a shower cap or something like that before I even step out. But there's the sun. It's up now and looking kind of cool behind that fog. 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now with south-southeast winds 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 100%. Zero visibility due to the fog, according to Environment Canada. That's what is registering out at the airport anyway. And so your commute into work, your drive in, will certainly be affected. You've got to drop your speed. You've got to make sure you've got your lights turned on. That'll help you both see and be seen. That's a bigger thing, right? Because you're going to fix the situation for what you need, but you can't help knowing what other people need. So having the lights on means that they'll be able to see you through the fog. There's not much to show you other than that. Fog doesn't register on the satellite image. There will be a bit of precipitation moving across northern Manitoba for later on today. For us here in the south, once the fog burns off, we're actually in for mainly clear or sunny conditions and a high of 25 degrees, well above seasonal, with winds staying on the lighter side out of the south. Clear conditions then overnight as we drop down to 14 degrees, still with those winds out of the south, moderate. Those winds tomorrow will be shifting, getting a whole lot stronger. Tomorrow we're also in for some cooler temperatures, but still plenty of sunshine. 18 degrees, yes, cooler, but still above seasonal. 16 degrees would be a normal daytime high. But we're bouncing right back up from that 18 tomorrow, back up into those low to mid 20s where we'll stay through the weekend, and even getting a degree or two warmer as we look ahead to next week.
Thank you, Terry. A number of new measles exposures to tell you about, one at a Winkler school and another at a Winkler grocery store. Public health officials say anyone who was at Garden Valley Collegiate in Winkler between September 15th through to the 18th may have been exposed. And it's a similar story if you were shopping at Real Canadian Superstore on Cargill Road in Winkler, September 15th between 3 p.m. and 10. In addition, worshippers at Winkler Evangelical Mennonite Mission Church on September 18th could have been exposed between 6 and 11 p.m. If you were at any of these locations, you're asked to monitor for symptoms. Health Canada is reassuring Canadians that Tylenol is safe to use, including by pregnant women. The agency says there is no conclusive evidence that using acetaminophen as directed during pregnancy causes autism or any other neurodevelopmental disorders. They also note that the drug has been used safely for decades during pregnancy. The drug is the active ingredient in Tylenol and other pain relievers. It was thrust into the spotlight earlier this week when the Trump administration announced a connection between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and autism. Many health experts say those claims are unproven and that acetaminophen is safe when used as directed. Officials with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency are now preparing for the cull of 400 ostriches on a BC farm.
We've been trying for 9 months of clear communication of that these animals are healthy. Can we test them? That is it. Can we test them for virus? And that's been denied.
The CFIA has taken control of the property and is preparing to cull the animals with support from an RCMP presence. Supporters say the families who run the farm are being mistreated. The farm's co-owner and her daughter were arrested after they refused to voluntarily leave the ostrich pen. The cull order comes after an outbreak of avian flu in the herd last December, but the farm's owners say the remaining birds are healthy and should be tested for antibodies. Canada's main stock index has hit a major milestone, briefly rising above 30,000 for the first time ever.
You might see a bit of a pullback in the next few months, but over the next 12 to 24 months, I mean, it's definitely going higher.
It's a milestone few expected would be touched this year, especially after the U.S. president started his trade wars, sending stocks plunging. But after hitting a low on April 8th, the TSX has gone up an impressive 33%. The Canadian markets are benefiting from strength in energy, along with precious metals. Gold is up 45% this year. The Day for Truth and Reconciliation is observed on September 30th. It's a time of reflection on historical residential school abuses. And this year, the University of Winnipeg is marking the day in a special way.
It's a way for us to come forward and, take part and join hands in this effort in understanding and reconciling for all the discrimination and institutional horrors that have happened.
The orange shirt has come to symbolize the resilience of Indigenous culture in Canada, despite the dark legacy of residential schools. Each year, thousands of shirts are worn, and here the University of Winnipeg is giving away 500 of them for free. Every 2 years, the shirt is updated with a new design in time for the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, which is also Orange Shirt Day.
I chose this year's artist based on, she was a vendor here at a market we had last year. She has amazing artwork, stationery. I really enjoy her traditional Anishinaabe floral designs.
Michaela Gilbert's creation features a jingle dress dancer whose dance brings good medicine and a young grass dancer symbolizing a path forward to follow. The Manitoba Museum is offering 3 days of free admission to mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, otherwise known as Orange Shirt Day. Between Sunday and Tuesday, you can enjoy complimentary admission to the museum galleries, Science Gallery, and Planetarium. The museum notes capacity is limited in the Science Gallery and Planetarium. Additionally, the museum will be holding special all-day programming and activities focused on the history of Indian residential schools and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action. The museum is open 10 to 4 all 3 days. And we have some road closures to remind you about this morning. St. Anne's Road is down to 1 lane in either direction between Inman Avenue and St. Mary's Road. Starting today, eastbound Grant will be partially closed between Nathaniel and Stafford, while the westbound lanes will be partially closed between Stafford and Harrow. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400. And here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.36. The provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.28. And the lowest price in the city is $1.24. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Right now, it is 11 degrees and very foggy. Stay with us for more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
There's a look at your foggy morning. 11 degrees outside right now with very light winds out of the south-southeast, just 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 100%. That is, I'm obsessed with the view this morning of the sun through the fog, or the way the fog has kind of enveloped the city and you're seeing just the tops of the buildings through it. It does look cool. It doesn't feel that great. You're going to want that extra layer on, a waterproof layer maybe, and then a bag over your head to try and stay dry. It's going to be a bit of a struggle today. Otherwise, it would be clear. Fog doesn't read on our satellite image, but clouds do, and you can see them up across northern Manitoba, and that's where there will likely be a little bit of precipitation today. With the clouds, there will be some perhaps scattered showers, but still the temperatures well above seasonal. 18 degrees in Churchill. The rest of the northeast will be up into those low 20s. Just for a reference point, about 12 to 13 degrees. That would be a normal daytime high in the northeast, maybe around 14 degrees. A normal high here in northwestern Manitoba, places like Flin Flon and the Pas, where instead low to mid 20s. Yes, further into the north or around Lynn Lake, it will be a little bit cooler and a little bit soggier. 13 degrees expected. But into the high 20s now through the southwestern part of the province with the clear conditions expected. And while we're dealing with all of that fog this morning, we'll likely see the clearing later on today. And with the sunshine that comes out from behind that fog, temperatures will be on the rise. Some high 20s through the southeastern part of the province and further east of us and above seasonal day as well throughout much of northwestern Ontario. Those low to mid 20 temperatures expected. Now, slightly cooler for tomorrow, but only slightly. 16 degrees is a normal daytime high, and will still remain above that as we're dropping into the high teens, but bouncing right back up again. Mercury on the rise in the latter part of the week, the weekend, and even into next week. Temperatures remaining up into those mid 20s.
Thank you, Terry. All right, let's go back to Ainsley McPhail. Now we're talking about Crimestoppers, and we're going to learn a little bit more on what to do if you yourself witness a crime. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Michelle. And it was said on the show earlier, if you see something, say something. And you know who sees things and says things quite frequently? Children. Rob's joining us from Crimestoppers once again. So when it comes to reporting these crimes, if your child sees something, what are you instructing them to do next?
I think it's important to have that conversation with your children. And first and foremost is promote safety. So tell them to be safe, get to the safe space and make sure that they're safe first and foremost before anything. Then the next thing is to talk to them about being a good witness. What's different about the person? So the color of their backpack, are they the color of their hair, their description, again, getting that description of the individual. And then also teaching them how to make the right call. So knowing when to call non-emergency versus when to call 911. So having those conversations with them and instilling them in the confidence, having the confidence to be able to deal with a situation if they encounter one, and knowing what to do and how to react. And again, it's practice. And then having a conversation with them after and talking to them about it openly and how it made them feel is also an important, that last step to bring closure to a situation like that.
Unfortunately, parents can't be around 24/7, and they're going to be at school quite a bit. What tips do you have for educators, or on the other side of things too, if there's any kids watching?
Yeah, again, teachers can kind of talk to students about how to safely observe a crime, and again, how to report that crime, what information to look for, practice what to remember, and then again, making that right call. So who do you call, right? Do you go to a school resource? Do you tell a teacher? Do you phone the police? Like, for an example, if there's a weapon involved, you always want to call the police.
Thank you so much. It's good to get that tangible information. Crimestoppers joining us throughout the morning. 8:06 is our next chat.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. A men's softball league in Newfoundland and Labrador has always tried its best to include senior players. And this year, the league's eldest statesman is catching everyone's eye thanks to a heartfelt message making headlines worldwide. CTV's Garrett Berry explains.
When the season grows late, athletes at all levels all say the same thing.
That's our goal. Play as long as we can in October.
It means just a little bit more to catcher and 80-year-old Nelson Bradbury, who is just hoping to make this team last as long as possible.
They mean a lot more to me than I mean to them. You know, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I got 14 new friends. I got almost 200 new friends because I've been playing here with different teams.
You may have even seen his words before. An early morning text he sent to all of his teammates has taken a life all of its own.
I had been sort of laying in bed and thinking about it a bit. Geez, the boys, you know, we got to win this game because if we don't, we may not move on.
He wrote, "I don't know if I will get another year in the league or not. I don't even buy green bananas anymore. But I do know this will be the year of ball play that I will remember."
He's just like so inspiring. He has such a positive outlook. Like, he has inspired me to like continue to pursue things.
Sam Evans saw it on her husband's phone and posted it to TikTok. Now it's everywhere. Publications all around the world.
I shouldn't say it don't mean anything to me. It means something to me. It means that obviously I've touched a lot of people, but all I wanted to do was touch my teammates.
But when nighttime comes, the mood gets serious. It went down to the wire, but Bradbury's team pulled out a narrow 15-14 win and kept the season alive a little bit longer.
God, Mills. Did it. One more.
Garrett Berry, CTV News in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 8th birthday to Osiris, a.k.a. Biter. Love from Honey and Papa Les and all the family. Happy 7th birthday, Owen, from your family and friends. Happy 65th birthday, Kim. Much love from your husband, Greg, daughter, Katrina, and your family. Happy 4th birthday, Penny. Love Mommy, Daddy, and Arthur. Happy 62nd birthday, Teppa, Grandpa Brent, from your family. And a happy 4th birthday to Casey. Lots of love from Nana, Grandpa, and all your family and friends. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
All right, 25 degrees is where we're headed today, and that'll put us well above seasonal. So our normal daytime high would be about 16 degrees. Now, we did surpass that last year, getting up to 22.7. But it was 1997 when we hit that record of 30 degrees. That would have been a bit of a scorcher. Now, there's nothing that's feeling scorching about today with the heavy fog hanging around, although I didn't think it was going to look any better than it did earlier this morning with the pretty pinks and purples through the fog as the sun was starting to rise, except I step out here now, and what we're seeing is the yellows and the blues because the sun is shining through that fog, and we do have blue sky behind it. So it is looking pretty cool, and I'm pretty confident that later on today today, this fog will be gone and sunshine will be the dominant feature with the heat that we can expect from it. Our temperatures right now, they are still above seasonal at 11 degrees when 4 is a normal low temperature, but we're headed up to a high of 25 with plenty of sunshine through the afternoon. This morning, though, there is that dampness to the air, but the winds are light and it will be pleasant. Northern Manitoba, a bit of a different story for you with some heavier clouds building up. You might see some precipitation passing through, but even there, above seasonal temperatures are expected right across the entire province.
Thank you, Terry. A group of scientists is searching Canada's far north and exploring the Arctic's hidden and mysterious ecosystem. The Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker CCGS Amundsen will be operating in the Arctic's marine protected area near the Queen Elizabeth Islands, and the University of Manitoba is playing a big part in the 28-day expedition. 37 scientists are on the ship, including several from Manitoba. Joining us now is U of M's Research Associate for the Centre for Earth Observation Science, David Babb, and Fisheries and Oceans Canada Research Scientist, Lisa Mathis. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Rochelle.
Thank you so much. Now, you're not on the deck, obviously, of the ship, but you are on the boat right now.
Yes, we're in the comfort of our cabin, though right outside of our window we can see sea ice and there's waves today, and the crew is getting ready for a busy day.
Describe what it's like out there right now. Is it cold? Is it sort of in between? Does it feel like fall?
We actually have about -4 degrees outside, which for our sea ice work, we still consider it pretty warm. The sun is just coming up. It will be a beautiful day. We had a couple of beautiful days with lots of sun, but also yesterday was quite cold and snowy.
Oh, wow. So tell us about the kind of work you'll be doing there in the Arctic and what you're hoping to find out in your research.
Yeah, so this area is really interesting. It's been historically inaccessible due to the heavy ice conditions. And so there isn't a lot of work done in this area. So we're trying to fill in this gap in our knowledge of the Canadian Arctic. And with our crew of 38 scientists on board, we're studying everything from the sediments at the bottom of the ocean, everything through the water column, the sea ice over top, and the glaciers and islands around us. So we're really able to cover sort of the whole kind of broad environment of this region.
And that will give us a full picture of the ecosystem to better understand under which pressure they are with the warming climate.
Okay, and so is this sort of a dream come true, being on this kind of expedition?
Absolutely. We were planning it for the last 2 years and we are finally here, and so far we can do everything we want. We added a lot of operations to get even a better understanding of really small details of the area we're studying right now.
And so once you do gather your information and you collect whatever you need, the samples that you need, what are you hoping to do with the information you collect there?
Yeah, so a big part of this will go towards baseline studies of the marine protected area in this region. It's called Tuvayutuk, which is an Inuktitut word meaning the place where the ice never melts. And so we're trying to provide baseline understanding of this region so we have future threshold or future conditions to compare to as the climate continues to warm. A lot of the work too will also go towards supporting students and research at different Canadian universities. So we have people on board from 10 different Canadian universities. We have multiple students on board, so this work will directly contribute to their thesis. And ideally, I mean, most of our work ends up in the published peer-reviewed literature, but we also are doing a lot of work to communicate this more broadly. So for example, at the end of the leg, we are getting off the ship in Resolute Bay, and we're doing a community science day at the school in Resolute Bay while we do crew change. And there we're hoping to both share what we've learned and the work that we've done, but also to hear the interests and observations and concerns from community members that we can then use to guide future research in this area.
Have you found anything surprising so far?
We are very surprised by the differences in wildlife. When we started in Resolute, we right away saw some polar bears. The further north we went, we saw a little less. We saw muskox and Arctic foxes, but we didn't see any bears. And we are also we're not the most successful fishers. There once in a while a fish in our nets, but it's not very often.
What a cool experience. And you're going to be there for how much longer?
We have 1 week tomorrow. So next Thursday we'll be disembarking the ship in Resolute Bay. So yeah, we're about 3 weeks in. So far it's been great, but we've got 8 more days to sort of power through.
All right, well, good luck on your search, and hopefully you come back and give us an update of what you find. Thank you, David and Lisa.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you.
Hey there, Lindsay Hamilton inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Tuesday, and it comes from the third round of the Carabao Cup. It's Brighton's Diego Gomez, already with 2 goals, and off the bounce unleashes an absolute unreal volley from 35 yards out. Just a wicked bend over the keeper. That goal completing the hat trick, and he would add another to become the first player to score 4 goals in a Road League Cup match since 2007. Definitely a match to remember for the 22-year-old from Paraguay. That right there, your must-see moment. Meanwhile, tonight on TSN, the Mets continue their series against the Cubs. Canadian Jonah Tong scheduled to start for New York, and coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. It's all for now from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a terrific Wednesday.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It's Wednesday, September 24th. New housing in West Broadway, how local residents are reacting to a 6-story project near a neighborhood hotel. Grounded planes lead to backlogged expense claims. How many travelers have applied for compensation from the carrier? And working holiday. This server leaves her regular office job for 2 weeks each year for long days of serving up the suds at Hamburg's Oktoberfest. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for staying with us. It is 8 o'clock on your Wednesday. We have a lot in the next hour, including the Manitoba Lung Association is holding a forum to talk about pulmonary fibrosis. We're going to find out a little bit more about the disease and how many people are affected, as well as what you need to know if this is something or a new diagnosis in your family. We're going to tell you what you need to keep in mind. And then let's shift to the weather. The fog is the big story of the day today.
I don't think I've ever seen it look as cool or as pretty as what we've been looking at through gorgeous. The morning. I mean, you talked about your ride into work this morning, right? Like commutes, they're not going to be ideal by any means, but if you just have a chance to look, or what you should do is probably rewind your show if your TV has that capability, because honestly, earlier this morning when the sun was rising, we had the pinks and the purples.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. But even now, it's looking good. Let's take a peek. Okay, so the difference now is that we're seeing a little bit of that blue sky. So it's unlike the purples and the pinks from earlier this morning, it's the blues and the yellows from the sun shining through. 11 degrees at the moment. South-southeast winds are light to 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity at 100%. And how cool it looks to just see those buildings poking out from that dense fog. And it is still very dense and heavy, reducing your visibility. And I've been talking all morning long about the dampness from it all, how you're just like stepping into this wall of water. So a waterproof layer, maybe that would be ideal, although even then you're still going to find, like, I feel like I need a hairdryer every time I come inside. Condition wise, behind the fog, which doesn't read on the satellite image, there's not much to show you because it is otherwise very, very clear. Now, things will change. We've got just the beginning of the clouds moving in, and that's the precipitation that will eventually come along with it, but probably not until a little bit later today. I stopped this at about 3 o'clock when the showers just begin in the far northwestern part of the province. Eventually through the day, so still on the sunnier side through much of the northeast. Eventually you'll get that precipitation arcing through into the evening or overnight, and that'll take you right into tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, here through southern Manitoba, much of the southern half of Canada, really, through the prairies or northwestern Ontario, we have clear conditions. Overnight, tomorrow, plenty of sunshine. Again, tomorrow's not going to be quite as warm as today or the latter part of the week and weekend. We will have a little bit of a dip. So 25 today is well above seasonal. 16 is actually normal for this time of year. We'll get closer to that for a day, and then we're on the rise again with these low to mid 20 temperatures, not just through the weekend. They're sticking around into next week. And our art today is just this, a plea for more art. Send us some, draw, color, paint. Let me know what you're working on. We'd love to share it with our viewers. You just email us that picture to winnipegweather at ctv.ca.
A large housing project is planned for the Sherbrook Inn's parking lot. The development comes as the hotel in the West Broadway neighborhood is under new ownership. A public hearing is scheduled at City Hall to consider a proposal that would see the Sherbrook Inn and the hotel's parking lot subdivided to make way for a 6-story, 86-unit multifamily building with a ground floor of businesses on the parking lot. A report also shows 44 parking stalls, including 14 for the hotel. The plans come as new owners took over the Sherbrook Inn last year. David McKecken helps out behind the hotel's bar. He's lived in the neighborhood for 40 years and welcomes the development.
Sherbrook Street here has been doing very well with progress, a lot of new businesses and a little bit of life, so it's to just keep the things moving in the right direction.
A report says the project will have 8 affordable units and an additional 25% will meet federal affordable standards. The hearing on the proposed development is set for September 29th. The city is considering a speed limit reduction on a street in Wolseley after the road was turned into a new transit route. A motion put forward by Councillor Cindy Gilroy would see the speed limit on Arlington Street between Portage Avenue and Wolseley Avenue drop to 30 kilometers an hour. Her motion says residents are speaking out as buses are traveling faster and creating more noise than they're used to, even shaking nearby homes. The City Centre Community Committee will consider the motion on Monday. Air Canada says it's still working through more than 54,000 customer claims after a summer strike left thousands of passengers stranded.
They want you to give up, I think, I would say. They tried to rebook us on over 120 carriers, but they couldn't find any flights for us.
Cindy Burns from Nova Scotia says she ultimately paid more than $5,000 out of pocket after her flight back from Ontario was cancelled. Multiple passengers tell CTV News that though their cases have been marked as resolved, they still haven't received their reimbursements. The airline says many customers have already received their payments and that the strike led to a significant backlog. The U.S. Secret Service says it has dismantled a hidden network that could have massively disrupted communications in New York as the city hosts world leaders at the UN General Assembly.
This network had the potential to disable cell phone towers and essentially shut down the cellular network in New York City.
More than 100,000 SIM cards were seized, all clustered within about 55 kilometers of the city, enough to send 40 million anonymous text messages every minute, crippling the cell grid. Investigators say the foiled plot is the work of an organized group working on behalf of a foreign nation, though no arrests have been made. If you had 16 straight days away from your job, would you choose to go and do more work? Let me explain. Nicole Mattern usually works in an office in Hamburg, but during Oktoberfest, she takes time off to go to Munich and work as a server. Her days are long, from first thing in the morning until the beer tents close at night. She says she prepares by taking magnesium and zinc supplements leading up to the festival, and she stays well hydrated, which is a good thing as visitors to Oktoberfest normally drink about 7 million liters of beer during the event. The 190th edition of Oktoberfest is now open in Munich until October 5th. Bet you she makes lots of tips. Here's a look at what's happening now on Pembina Highway. It is really foggy out there. Visibility is really reduced, and so be mindful of your speed. And the city is reminding you about your speed as well as to use caution due to this heavy fog. Lights are flashing red in all directions at Osborne and Granite Way as well, following a crash there, so be wary of that. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Let's go back now to Ainsley Mayfield. We've been talking about Crimestoppers and what they do in our community. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. Doing lots of great advocacy work, encouraging people to report crimes that they see anonymously. And with that advocacy work comes helping out the kids. And Rob's joining us once again. When it comes to the old saying, stranger danger, what is the messaging for children?
Yeah, it hasn't changed over the years. We're still encouraging parents and guardians to teach that stranger danger message and to really teach children to be cautious and aware of their surroundings and set up things like safe words for if the you can't pick your child up for school and things like that, and have prearranged safe words in place so that you can have that situation where they're able to verify an adult if somebody's trying to approach them, and just basically having those conversations with your children and teaching them that old saying of stranger danger definitely still applies today.
And when it comes to the Halloween season coming up, well, there's strangers involved there too, but there's also some helpful tips because of that. What are they?
Yeah, so one of the big ones is crossing safely. So make sure they're crossing the street safely, making sure that they're making eye contact with drivers before they proceed across the street. Pay attention to their surroundings. Don't have your face buried in your phone or have a pair of headphones on, and paying attention to your surroundings. Again, the old adage of don't eat any of your candy until you get home and you've had an adult go through it and you've had an adult inspect that candy.
And before we're out of time, back to school has been in full swing for a little while now. Bike safety.
Yeah, so helmets. And again, when you're on a bike, you have to follow the Highway Traffic Act. So you are responsible for stopping, obeying all traffic signals, ride on the right side of the road, wear bright colored clothing, and if you're going to ride at night, make sure you've got some lights on your bike so that other people can see you.
Awesome. Look up. Common sense ain't so common, eh? We'll see you at 8:38.
Okay, thanks. A family in northeast Edmonton is once again going the extra mile for Halloween. A pirate ship previously stood on their front lawn. This year, they're switching it up. CTV's Merrick to Catch shows us what they're building.
Dave Awanek is building his latest Halloween creation, a haunted castle standing 7 feet tall on his front lawn.
Well, it was about end of August where the wife and I were discussing Halloween and how we did the pirate ship 2 years ago and how we had to try and top it.
Hundreds of people came by to check out the pirate ship in 2023. This year, the Awanek family wants to go bigger and better.
Well, the width is 16 feet wide. The length of the castle itself is 20 feet wide, not including the spools, so probably about 23 feet long.
The whole family, including Dave's mother, has been pitching ideas for the castle.
Children get very excited around here. They can hardly wait till it's finished.
And the neighborhood has been noticing.
It's a lot of work. We've had a lot of people drive by and take pictures.
Every year we're trying to figure out as they're building it what we're gonna see. So it's a game we play with the kids of like guessing of what's going on next.
She made her guess a few weeks ago as the pillars were going up.
We thought this one was gonna be a church. That was our first guess, but it's pretty awesome, and I think it's topping the pirate so far.
Dave and his family hope to have the finishing touches put on the castle by October 1st.
And then just getting all the decorations put up also on the inside too.
Merrick to Cash, CTV News, Edmonton.
There's a look outside. Honestly, I've been loving the view of it all. Like I say, I hate standing in it because it's so damp and you ruin every effort you put into your hair this morning, but it does certainly look cool. Looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. And yes, it really is like walking into a wall of water out there. A waterproof layer would be ideal, and then, as I've been saying, maybe a shower cap or something like that. You feel like you need a hair dryer every time you come back inside again. And because it's so damp and there's so much moisture in the air, there is certainly a coolness to it all. Although our temperatures are well above seasonal, 4 degrees would be a normal low temperature, and that's where Brandon is sitting right now. You can see it's slightly cooler in the southeastern part of the southwest. Here in the southeast, we're in the double digits all throughout the area. And even northern Manitoba's got a very mild start to the day. Plenty of sunshine expected, and these temperatures will be warming up too. All of us headed up into basically the low or high 20s. Clear conditions. Behind that fog, it will be a bright and sunny day, but first we've got to wait for this fog to burn off. 13 degrees expected as kids are getting settled into the classrooms. 19 by lunchtime today, and a bright and sunny 24 degrees by the time they're coming home from school, with 25 being our expected high, well above the seasonal 16 degrees. Tomorrow, slightly cooler, closer to what is normal, but not for long. The temperatures on the rise through the latter part of the week, staying there for the weekend, and even getting a couple degrees warmer as we're looking ahead to next week. We're taking a break right now, but stick around. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. Maybe a dream vacation, some home renos, paying off some bills perhaps. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is travel. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word travel with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck. At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing, and we want to see even more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals. Send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at ctv.ca. Catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. Pulmonary fibrosis is a lung disease where lungs are permanently damaged or scarred. The disease can be slowed down, but the damage is irreversible, making it harder to breathe over time. The Manitoba Lung Association is hosting a pulmonary fibrosis patient education forum to help patients and their families learn about and navigate the disease. Joining us now are pulmonary fibrosis volunteers and organizers of the forum, Debbie Homick and Amy Webb. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. Tell us a little bit about this disease. What is it? What causes it?
So the majority of the people that we see have what we call idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and idiopathic means we don't have a known cause for it. There are other types of pulmonary fibrosis as well, but this one is a progressive one. Again, we do not have a cure for the disease as of yet. But we do have medications out there that can help slow down the progression of the disease and also help with some of the symptoms. Like the symptoms for pulmonary fibrosis will be a shortness of breath, chronic cough, and lower lung oxygen, or pardon me, lower oxygen levels in the blood.
Okay, and so the fact that we don't know what causes it is kind of scary, because then how do you prevent it from happening?
You can do a couple of things. We have triggers that can potentially
cause it,
not cause it, but can be leading factors. Like if you have chronic GERD, or if you smoke or work in a dusty environment, they can potentially be triggers, but they're certainly not the cause, and we still don't have the cause.
That's wild. Okay, so what would the symptoms be then? How would you know that you're potentially getting this?
Getting short of breath. Also, your family physician, if they can hear crackles in the airways when they listen to your lungs, that is also a sign that they should maybe do a CT scan. It's to see if there's anything out there that they need to be looking at.
Is this usually targeting older adults, or is it younger people at the same time?
Majority are over 50. Okay. The older you get, the more likelihood that you would get it. It is still considered a rare disease, though. It's not common.
Okay, well, that's good to know. But you are offering this forum because there is a need to get information out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big need for information. Because it's such a rare disease, there's not a lot of knowledge in the community, information about it. So we offer this forum, which we think is just a fabulous day for everybody. We have a variety of speakers throughout the day. We've got 3 respirologists this year, a social worker, a physiotherapist, and as well we have a family sharing their own special journey about pulmonary fibrosis.
Okay, so for people at home right now watching this, what do you want them to know? Are there things that when they go to this forum that can help them prevent any further damage? What is it that you...
So at the forum, the healthcare professionals are going to be giving information on exactly what is pulmonary fibrosis. They're also going to be giving information on managing symptoms, what it's like living with chronic illness, mental health, and basically just navigating the future.
And so when people go there, they're not only learning about what sort of treatments are available to them, which you say there are new treatments out there that are really helpful, but you're also giving them advice on how to stay healthy in the long term.
We are. Something else that is also really important, besides all the healthcare professionals, is that they're able to meet other people that are living with the same disease. So I think that's really important for the people with pulmonary fibrosis. They connect with others that are going along the same journey. And as well, their families are welcome to attend, their caregivers. So it's just a way for everybody to connect and get involved. It's a really special, really nice day.
This is happening Friday at the Kubota Center. We're almost out of time. Any quick messages you want to get out there?
Yes, the forum is free for all participants and their caregivers, and we are doing live stream this year, so people at home can also view it.
Okay.
So we'd like to thank our sponsors and partners that have made this free. That would be Boehringer Ingelheim, the Canadian Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, Carica Health, Medagas, the Kubota Center, and of course the Manitoba Lung Association.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing this with us. If you want more information, we have a link on our website.
All right. Okay, so here's something that's really neat about the fog. All of the condensation that has happened here has made the spider webs on my mum's very, very visible. I had no idea. This thing is covered in spider webs. And then I found what might be, well, maybe they're not spider eggs. I don't know what they are. So I took a picture. I'm going to have to Google that a little bit later on and see what's going on here on my mum. I mean, it looks pretty, doesn't it? I was saying earlier this week that they're kind of taking the place of the sun when we don't get to see the sun, although it's shining from behind the fog right now, doing its best, and we are starting to see some improvements as far as visibility goes now. 11 degrees. It's still very foggy out here, don't get me wrong. When I say we're seeing some moderate improvements, that's going from 0 visibility to 0.2 visibility. South winds, they're 8 kilometers per hour. They'll remain on the lighter side throughout the day today. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 100%. And yes, that dampness that you feel when you step outside, it is very, very real. But then later today, it'll be nothing but sunshine through the afternoon with soaring temperatures expected no matter where you are in the province. Not everybody is going to see all of the sunshine. I mean, first we have to deal with the fog. But for northern Manitoba, you'll see the clouds building up and a bit of precipitation later today, beginning in the northwest, pushing into the northeast by evening or overnight. So there will be some soggy stuff across the north. We're getting a little bit soaked right now just from all of this fog, but then later today, soaking up the sunshine and enjoying some well above seasonal temps to go with it. And a cool shot of the harvest time. I think that's just dust as opposed to fog out of the Notre Dame de Lourdes area. Thanks to Diane for the photo, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at CTV.ca. We are talking about auto insurance today, and my guest is joining us from CAA. Elliot Silverstein is with us this morning. Good morning, Elliot.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm excited to have this chat with you today because, I mean, when it comes time to registering a vehicle, a lot of us are just going down to AutoPack and getting it done, but I think a lot of people don't realize that there are other options out there. So let's talk about some extended coverage and why we should consider that.
Absolutely. There is that opportunity for you to have auto extension insurance coverage. And really what you want to do is understand your current policy. And the first step is in terms of saving money on auto insurance is ensuring your policy fits your current needs. So shopping around for optional and additional auto, you never know the type of savings or benefits you may get. And the most important thing we can stress is talk to your insurance broker to review your policy. And that's going to help you understand the insurance coverage you have, whether you're potentially paying more than you need to, but also having the conversation about the type of car you drive and how much you drive to see what type of benefits are available for you.
Very nice. And I mean, there's always those added perks. I know last year when my battery died, CAA just kind of showed up with a battery in hand, fixed my car, and I was back on the road again, right? So there are some perks outside of just registering that vehicle as well, right?
There's lots of opportunity. When you consider the insurance from CAA, the auto extension insurance from CAA Insurance, again, there's the opportunity to find some savings. So when you are a CAA member, you can get up to additional 10% savings on your auto extension insurance. So leveraging those types of affiliations, the membership you have, can help yield you some additional savings when you're part of an association like CAA.
Okay, let's talk about some of the other opportunities that folks might have to save a few bucks.
So there's a few different ways that people can save money when it comes to auto extension insurance, which is really a top-up, and I want to stress it that way because there's the different types of options people can look at are, for example, collision and comprehensive coverage, and that would help you reduce the amount that you would pay in the event of an accident. Another one is increased third-party liability, which gives the policyholder greater protection in case they are legally responsible for any damages to another person or to their property. And lastly, family protection. So it helps you ensure that you're covered if the other motorist isn't insured or doesn't have adequate coverage to pay that claim.
Very nice. Yeah, all things to keep in mind there. Elliot, is there anything that you think that we should know about auto insurance? Take a moment and just kind of educate us.
Well, I mean, really the thing that we find the most across the country is that auto insurance is confusing for a lot of people. And it's one of those things that they don't necessarily want to look at. They know they need to have it, but they get it and they move on. But they don't necessarily revisit it on a regular basis. And that's what we want to talk about now, is about having those conversations with your insurance broker. Because there are some savings that you could be leaving on the table each and every year. So for example, even just taking considerations like your auto extension insurance and your home insurance, many insurers will offer savings when you have multiple policies with them. At the same time, if you have multiple vehicles, you could be entitled to multi-vehicle discounts when you're insuring more than one vehicle. So if you are in a situation where you're looking at this for this extension coverage, you may want to have those conversations to make sure you're maximizing that savings.
Very nice. Is this all just something that we can do online? Do we need to see someone in person?
It really is stressed that you talk to your insurance broker who can help you shop for the right type of extension insurance coverage that fits your needs.
Well, these are all great tips. Elliot, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
There's a look outside, and we're starting to see through that fog now. It's still out there, don't get me wrong, and it's still a mild morning. 11 degrees is where we are sitting right now with the south wind 8 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 100%. With 4 degrees being a seasonal low temperature, we've been well above that all morning long. We were as cool as 10. We're now at 10.5, rounded up to 11. We'll take it. And as far as the fog goes, it's already beginning to burn off a little bit. Another couple of hours, it'll be a distant memory, although a very cool memory, and we've been talking about how cool it looks. Maybe by the end of the show, we'll have to show you what it looked like earlier this morning. There's how clear it is now. We're not dealing with much other than fog. So behind the fog, there's not even really any clouds that we're dealing with. And we're most likely to enjoy mainly sunny conditions today once this fog burns off. 25 degrees is where we're headed. That puts us well above seasonal, with 16 degrees being a normal daytime high. We're going to be almost 10 above that with just a slight breeze out of the south. At about 15 kilometers per hour, that breeze increases ever so slightly overnight to about 20 winds as we drop to 14. But that, too, is about 10 degrees above seasonal. Now, tomorrow will be a little bit cooler. Not as hot as it's been. We've been up into the low or even some mid-20 temps throughout this week. But tomorrow, high teens expected. But still above the seasonal 16 degrees, so we're still winning in that sense, but the winds will be stronger out of the northwest for tomorrow, and at times gusting to about 50 kilometers per hour. After that, the temperatures are on the rise again, and mainly sunny conditions, or at least a mix of sun and cloud, to play out the rest of the week, the weekend as well. And then looking ahead to next week, we even add another degree. We've got these very mild and above seasonal temperatures to last as far as we can see.
Thank you, Terry. 2 Winnipeg foster parents have been charged with an assault that left a child in hospital in critical condition. First off, a warning, the details of this story may be disturbing for some viewers. According to Winnipeg Police on Friday, their officers were called to a home in North Winnipeg for a report of a child with serious injuries. That child was taken to hospital in critical condition with what police describe as life-altering injuries. 3 other children from the same home were also taken to the hospital for assessment. Police allege one of these children, who is in hospital in stable condition, also showed signs of an assault. Police say the critically injured child was attacked sometime between September 17th and 18th and did not receive medical help. Now, a 25-year-old woman, the child's foster mother, is charged with aggravated assault, and failure to provide the necessaries of life. And the 26-year-old foster father faces a charge of failure to provide the necessaries of life. Those charges have not been tested in court. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's anticipating a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping soon.
Those discussions will deepen. I expect to. I will expect at the appropriate time to be meeting with President Xi Jinping, but continuing this dialogue with the Premier.
Carney met with the second most powerful man in China, Premier Li Shuang. It's the first time in nearly 8 years a Canadian Prime Minister has met with a Chinese leader. Canada and China are currently locked in a tariff battle over canola and electric vehicles. It appears common ground is being found on Ukraine at the United Nations Leaders Week in New York City. Donald Trump is changing his tone on Russia.
It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad.
After meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump said Kyiv could, quote, win all of Ukraine back in its original form with the support of Europe and NATO. Trump has repeatedly expressed his desire to end the war, but has previously said it would likely involve Ukraine giving up territory. For two Flin Flon graduates, an ominous wall of smoke and fire became the backdrop for a once-in-a-lifetime photo shoot. They didn't know it at the time, but within 24 hours, they would be racing to escape the blaze. CTV's Danton Unger has their story.
A moment of calm celebration against a backdrop of tragedy.
It was my very last photo shoot of obviously the season.
Photographer Brandy Bloxham captured these grad photos just outside Flin Flon in late May with a wall of smoke and flame raging in the background.
It was just really ironic that these kids are uncertain about their future, and then here we are, the whole town, same thing, right?
It's very surreal feeling to look at them.
Spiraling so uncontrolled. It's such a short amount of time.
Graduates Lexi Hines and Patrick Benoit say at the time they didn't think much of the fire, which was still relatively small.
It's so surreal to think that that tiny little fire that we thought, oh, it'd be really cool, make a really good once-in-a-lifetime opportunity photo background, it contributed to so many losses in the area.
Less than 24 hours later, the flames billowed out of control.
I was just sitting there on the couch, and then my dad runs into the house. We're being evacuated, and I'm just confused, not ready for it.
Thousands were forced to flee their homes for nearly a month as the blaze became the largest in the province, growing 7 times the size of Winnipeg. And for many on the Saskatchewan side of the border, including Bloxham, when they returned, all that was left was ash.
I'm from Denair Beach, so I lost my home. And the whole community, over 200 homes have been taken.
Which is why she says it took months for her to gather the strength to edit these photos. Yet looking at them now, as the community comes together with plans to rebuild, Bloxham says she sees something new: resilience.
The hope and the beauty, it's something beautiful in it. I don't know, I can't really explain it.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
And here's a look now at the situation with the fog. It looks like it's dissipating slightly, and we do have some traffic notes to tell you. Lights are working again at Osborne and Granite Way, but the northbound curb lane is closed while crews are making repairs in that area. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.36. The provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.28. And the lowest price in Winnipeg is $1.24. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
For our question of the day, we wanted to know if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would it be? Ken says he'd visit Milan. Susan says she'd love to see Japan. Auntie Nina would love to visit Alaska via a cruise. Sounds lovely. Lori would go to Fiji or a trip across Canada, seeing all the provinces and territories, not just big cities, but all of Canada and what it has to offer. Marlene says Venice, Italy, and Belize. Jackie also says she'd love to visit the City of Water, which is, of course, Venice, Italy, which is largely car-free. Thank you to all of you for your responses. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about Crimestoppers and what you could do to support them. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. And yes, they've got a new campaign that they've launched alongside the Joy Smith Foundation. Ravi and Rob join us once again. When it comes to that campaign, the trafficking report, what's it all about, Ravi?
I think a lot of it's just a lot of new immigrants being taken advantage of, whether it's issues like them having to pay employers to be here, a lot of cash deals, and people that may not know the immigration system fully, so they kind of just believe what's told to them, and they quite frankly have to pay to work. And I think it's happening a lot, and I think Crimestoppers is playing a vital role in that, and with Joy Smith and bringing some awareness to that. And people really, like, half their paychecks are being paid back to their employers and stuff like that. So it's really sad what's happening to a lot of people, being taken advantage of. They come to this new country and they think that that's the norm. So yeah, I think Crimestoppers is definitely a good call for something like that. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it.
There was a ride you wanted to talk to us about.
We recently held our second now annual motorcycle ride for Crimestoppers. That was really fun. It got a big turnout and some really good sponsors and raised some money, but more importantly, we raised a lot of awareness about what Crimestoppers does, which is holding people anonymous when they want to report a crime. So a lot of times it's not beneficial for someone to show up in court to be a witness, but they also want society to be better, their neighborhood to be better, so they report a crime. So that's what Crimestoppers is good for.
We're almost at a time. There's one theft that's been popping up quite frequently.
Yeah, so we've seen a rise in copper theft, and they're from industrial air conditioning units. So people are climbing up on top of businesses, and they're gutting the copper out of those industrial air conditioning units, which renders them completely useless, and they're about $20,000 to replace. So again, that's something we're looking at doing a campaign on, just to educate the community to keep an eye out. If you see somebody, climbing on a business at 2 o'clock in the morning that probably shouldn't be there, report that.
Thank you so much, both of you, Crimestoppers, for this conversation. It's not the weekend, but it's my weekend, so I'll see you guys in about 2 weeks' time after Thanksgiving.
Have a wonderful trip. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. How's that fog right now?
Okay, well, I just want to say, first of all, that I do climb on buildings in the early morning hours, but I am committing no crimes out here.
You're okay. I think people get it.
I have permission to be out here. I've got a swipe card that lets me out and everything. Don't take that away from me. All right, standing out here this morning, I'm still seeing the fog around me, but improvements. There you can see we're starting to get some of the tall buildings back again. There is that fog off in the distance, so it's not gone completely, but it is starting to dissipate. 11 degrees right now. South winds are 8 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. It's been looking so cool all morning long, and I feel like each time that we look out here, it looks a little bit different, but equally cool, because earlier this morning it was the pinks and the purples, and then it gets into the blues and the yellows, but all of it with that little bit of an eerie fog element to it. Around the province today, you can expect above seasonal temperatures and increasing amounts of sunshine now as this fog is beginning to burn off. Where there might be some precipitation today will be starting in the far northwestern part of the province and arcing across that most northern stretch into northeastern Manitoba for later on into the evening or overnight, maybe even lingering into tomorrow for the far northeast. But even there, temperatures above seasonal, as will be the case across the entire province. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
New efforts to scare you in your seats. Hollywood is banking on horror films for a killer year at the box office. ABC's Morgan Norwood reports.
Superheroes move over. The ghouls, monsters, and vampires are slashing their way through the box office this year. It's been a record-shattering year for horror films, proving that in 2025, fright sells. Take director Jordan Peele's latest release, Him, the story of a hotshot quarterback whose fame hides a chilling secret.
In this game, violence is rewarded.
Critics say it's set to pull in more ticket sales than his earlier blockbusters Get Out, Us, and Nope. It's on the heels of Michael B. Jordan's gothic vampire epic Sinners, set in 1930s Mississippi, which has already sunk its teeth into more than $278 million domestically.
No magic, just power.
And look, they're not alone. From Weapons, Final Destination Bloodlines, and 28 years later, audiences just can't look away.
Horror movies have gone through a great resurgence at the box office in the post-pandemic era. The big factor on why I think horror movies have worked so well at the box office after 2020 is because they're part of an experience, a communal environment where you don't know what to expect next.
And the numbers back it up. Nearly a third of this year's top 15 films in North America are horror titles. And with Hollywood projected to rake in billions more in the genre this year, it's clear horror is no longer lurking in the shadows. It's taking center stage.
Really, over the years, it's proven to be one of the more consistent genres at the box office.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
Emmy Award winner and Oscar-nominated Rory Kennedy is an American filmmaker and documentarian. Kennedy has partnered with Film Training Manitoba to help shape and mold our province's future filmmakers. Joining us now from Film Training Manitoba is Adam Smolik. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, before we get to Rory, first let's talk about your organization, what you do exactly. You are strictly in Manitoba. Tell us the kind of work you do.
Well, Film Training Manitoba is a non-for-profit charity, and we engage with members of the film and television community and people who aren't in the film community to develop their skills and do as much training as we can to help build and grow the film industry in Manitoba.
It's always changing, right?
Yeah, there's always new equipment, there's new editing software. Even just a couple of days ago, we did a workshop where someone was talking about how background performers are registering their names onto databases. So there's all kinds of new innovations going on in the film industry, and it's been that way. I've been with the organization for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've seen big changes in those 2 decades.
Wow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Digital to analog to digital, going from film to actual shooting, you know, in digital, that's been a huge change.
And what's cool is that you're not just serving down south in Manitoba, you're really going everywhere. You're trying to sort of target different groups of people.
Well, that's the new program that we've launched, the Northern and Diverse Creators Program, and we aspire as an industry to go beyond just the city of Winnipeg to engage with other communities. In recent years, we've been doing a lot of training with Assiniboine College in Brandon, and we're going there as a part of this new program as well, but we were very fortunate to get a Canadian Media Fund grant, and we're going to be traveling to Churchill, Cranberry Portage, Flin Flon, the Paw, and so a variety of different areas doing specialty training.
Okay, so how does Rory Kennedy play into all of this, and how did you even build this rapport with her?
Sort of a wild situation. Well, we've been partnering with Doc Manitoba for many years, which is an association of documentary filmmakers, and we've been doing these master classes, and it was actually my wife that we were watching Netflix, and there's a film Rory Kennedy directed called Last Days of Vietnam, which is a really intense award-winning project, played at Sundance, and my wife said, why don't you get her to come in and do a big documentary film workshop and program?
Right.
And so we went and watched her on YouTube doing, speaking at film festivals, and I thought, wow, like this would be incredible to have her. And so we had a mutual friend, and I contacted this person, and they connected us, and as I was saying to you before, she couldn't have been more accommodating. Like anything we asked, she was so on top of it. And her workshop that she did well, she did 90 minutes for women, and then she did a 4-hour full-on workshop with clips, and it was phenomenal.
Wow.
So we were very eager to get her again, and we started talking while she was here in February and said, would you be interested in doing this? She said, yes.
And she's coming back.
She's coming back.
In person.
In person. She's going to go up to Churchill. And then I had told her in Manitoba we have this huge diaspora of Ukrainian people. And I said it would be wonderful to do a partnership with Ukrainian Congress, Ukrainian Canadian Congress. She said, yeah, I would totally do that.
Well, if you do want more information on this program, how it works, and maybe how you can get involved, we do have a link on our website. Thank you for sharing this with us, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking outside this morning, it's 11 degrees. Still some fog out there, but it is beginning to dissipate a bit. We've got south winds 8 kilometers per hour with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Are we going to show folks how that fog looked earlier on? When are we going to do that? I should have checked that in advance of. It looked so cool earlier on this morning. We'll get a shot of that to show you, but let's take a tour. Oh, here it is now. That's what the fog looked like. This is just before the sun was beginning to rise, so you can see all those pretty pinks and purples and how heavy it was. We actually had zero visibility at one point this morning. We're now back to gaining some of that visibility back. It is still very, very damp, though. You step outside and it is like walking into a bit of a wall of water. Around the province, it's going to be a warm day from the high teens to the low 20s. Plenty of sunshine some places later today, like Lynn Lake. Might start to see some precipitation that'll arc across the most northern part of the province, but for most places, it will be sunny and warm, well above seasonal, pushing up into these high 20s through the southwest. Southeastern Manitoba, also above seasonal. Yes, we're still dealing with some of that fog, but it's already beginning to burn off, and then plenty of sunshine behind it. Sunshine and some heat, well above seasonal for today, but even tomorrow when we dip, we'll still remain above normal with 16 degrees being that seasonal daytime high. We'll only get to about 18, but we're back up into those low to mid 20s with plenty of sunshine lasting through the weekend and even into the start of next week. We're taking a break right now, but stick around. We'll be back in a moment with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
We're going to send you off, but before we do, we're going to show you some fun video. Many golfers play their whole lives without getting a hole-in-one, but not this 4-year-old.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my gosh!
Levi celebrated the feat with his dad, then sprinted to the green to retrieve the ball. He sunk it on the 108-yard fifth hole.
His whole life will be so disappointing now.
Wow. I'm sure. Well, they say practice makes perfect, and this woman sure has a lot of practice.
Always take a practice shot. My husband, he was a wonderful golfer, and he said, we have to go out when I retire. And I said, okay, I'll be brave and I'll learn it.
At 100 years old, Pearl Atwood is still swinging strong. She's been playing for 50 years, plays every Wednesday, and celebrated her 100th birthday on the course.
See, she's smiling because she didn't get a hole-in-one at 4 years old. If she had, she'd be like, I've never had another one since.
Well, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's all about perspective, Terry. And, of course, that does it for us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.